Okay, so America is that flawed leader of democracy. Um, Leader of democracy means that, yes, we are a democratic nation, but we also try to be a leader for other democratic nations. We try to be the one that sets the example for others to aspire to. But still a nation of human beings. We're not perfect. We've done some really good things and some very bad things. Let's start with the good. Mexico in 1913. After a new democracy was violently overthrown, the U.S. president, in support of our Mexican neighbors, refused to recognize the new tyrannical dictator, Victoriano Huerta. He was a terrible guy, bloody, savage, and we were hoping to have our neighbors be a democracy. That would just be best for the safety of both nations. So that was an example where we held fast to our beliefs and we did not, even though that would hurt trade, because if we don't recognize the government, then we can't have relationships with the government, good or bad. We decided that was worth it because President Wilson felt so strongly about how terrible Huerta's dictatorship was. Japan, 1944. Japan bombed America. It was one of the first direct attacks on America from a foreign nation in decades, and we went, and it brought us into World War II, and we defeated Japan. We dropped 2 nuclear bombs on them, the first ever dropped on another nation, so far the only. And after we had won, we had gotten complete surrender, no condition whatsoever. They said, "We give up, do whatever you want to us." Now, we could have made them a colony. We could have made them an extension of the United States. We could have just done whatever we wanted, but instead we wanted them to build up and be a powerful democratic nation. We realized what an ally this could be if we were friends with them, especially when just across the sea we've got China and we've got Russia and North Korea, which are all eventually end up being potential threats. We realized we need an ally over here. We can't just make enemies out of everyone we beat. So we helped turn them from a monarchy into a parliamentary democracy like what we have. And today, they are one of the great world powers as a result of that decision on our part. The Soviet Union. We talked about how we were opposing communism. We supported Andrei Sakharov as a symbol of a future democratic nation during the 1980s that we hoped Russia would become. And then Poland, one of those countries that Soviet Union had put external pressure on. We supported Lech Walesa. He was trying to form labor unions in Poland. Remember, land, labor, and capital. In a command economy, the government controls labor. Lech Walesa, he wanted the people to have the ability to form their own labor unions and to fight for their own rights and be able to defend themselves and discuss and bargain for what's fair for workers, not to have the government just tell them what they could and could not do. And so America supported him as well in the nation of Poland. Now, I've mentioned this word containment before. America, reason why we supported a lot of those last 2 leaders is because we were trying to contain communism. We decided that communism was such a threat to our nation and to our financial interests across the world that we were going to stop it no matter what. And we believed this thing called the domino theory, or at least the government taught the domino theory to Americans, hoping they would believe it, that if one country or 2 countries in an area went communist, it would just lead to another and another and another and another. That was called the domino theory. We were afraid that just the whole world would just be a sea of red communism all over. We now know in retrospect that just wasn't going to happen. Even countries that did go communist, like Vietnam, now are our trading partners. They're a great financial benefit to America. So that theory that cost a lot of lives and a lot of fighting ended up being dead wrong. And it led to us committing a lot of really terrible acts. Like in Iran, we reaped what we sowed. We helped a monarch, Shah Reza Pahlavi, continue to dominate Iran and squash any democratic movement, again, fearing that people would vote for communist leaders. And we did this for decades. And on top of that, Pahlavi, he was a very oppressive king. He was extremely tough on his people. And the people felt like they should be able to look at a democratic nation like America for hope and help. And instead, this democratic nation of America helped this leader keep Iranian people down. And they were held down for so long, and their anger built up so much that in 1979, a new anti-American fundamentalist leader was put into place. Pahlavi was assassinated. The people were revolted, and now we had a leadership in Iran that was absolutely against America, hated us for everything we had done to support the old Shah over them. Now, their new leaders since then have not been really great people. Let's make that very clear. But they're still so burned over how we supported this other terrible leader. That's one reason why Iranians have such powerful negative emotions towards America, to the extent that Iranian terrorists are known to have taken Americans hostage, assassinated pro-American leaders, and have hijacked a number of airlines and cruise ships with American citizens on it. Now, none of these acts are justified, okay? They are not okay, no matter what we did to them. But that is where their anger with us comes from. Nicaragua in 1979, we talked about this, Anastasio Somoza. We had supported him. And the same, just like with Iran, a group in 1979, the Sandinistas, were tired of it. They were communists. They subscribed to a guy named Karl Marx, who was the founder of communism. And under this united belief in Marxism and this united anger with America, they decided to revolt and assassinate Somoza and take Nicaragua for themselves. But America did not like that. They wanted Somoza. They wanted a dictator to control Nicaragua, to keep them in line with what America wanted. So Ronald Reagan supported an opposing rebel group known as the Contras, and he did so by selling weapons to Iran, our newfound enemy, illegally, after Congress had cut his budget and said, no, you can't support the Contras. We need to stay out of Nicaragua now. We've done enough damage. Knock it out. Ronald Reagan said, no, I'm gonna keep supporting these people. And he did so by being involved by selling weapons to our enemies to support the Contras against the Sandinistas in Nicaragua.